Like always, we appreciate you guys coming out to cover Penn State football. Want to give Northwestern a ton of credit that win they had last week. They used that momentum and that confidence from that 21-point comeback, and really had a nice plan for us, and played well early in the game. First half, obviously starting with a fumble on kickoff return, not how you want to start the game. But not only that, we put the ball on the ground 3 times, and it just messed with our offense's flow. Defensively, I thought obviously when we were able to get them off schedule on first down, then they had a hard time with our pass rush, and that really showed up in the second half. That was my message to the team. The first half is gone. Let's play really well in the second half, and I think it ended up 31-3 in the second half. Turnover battle was a tie. Thank you. Turnover battle was a tie. Explosive play battle, we won. The third down battle, we won. The sack battle, we won convincingly. The field position battle, we won. The penalty battle, we didn't. Obviously, the unsportsmanlike penalty there, throwing the ball, was ridiculous. So we'll get that cleaned up. But overall, very pleased with the win. Come on the road in the Big Ten, get a win again after their last game. Going into the bye week, we got some bumps and bruises in this game and in general. So this bye week will be important for us. It's not an off week, it's a bye week. We got to use this week to get better in the short term with our program, and then the long term for recruiting. So appreciate everybody being here. Again, give Northwestern a ton of credit, and then I open up to questions.
We'll start with Rich. Raise your hand and we'll call on you.
John, James, any reason for the sleepy start, for the slow start? Can you point your finger at anything?
Not other than what I've already said. Yeah, 41-13, we won. I'm excited about that. And the things that I already mentioned. We've had the fumble on the kickoff, and the things that I already mentioned.
Brendan and then Pickle.
James, you're winning games rather convincingly, but the ground game hasn't had the explosive plays that I think you mentioned. Is there something you can stick your finger on, and how much of a focus is that in the bye week?
Yeah, I think there's some things that we can do that we'll work on in the bye week. But again, overall, 41-13, a win, 1-0. Obviously, there's going to be things that we're going to need to critique this week and do some self-scouting and some studying. We'd like to be more explosive as well, although I thought we did improve this week. I still think there's an opportunity for some more big plays in both the run game and the pass game, and that will obviously be something that we're going to dig into deeply this week.
Pickle and Johnny.
Coach, was Katron Allen available to play in the second half? And then with JB Nelson, do you have any update on him after he left the field in the first half?
Yeah, so JB's back and with us, and Katron, I'm not sure. I haven't gotten the full medical report, but obviously, kind of that leads me to talking about Trey Potts, and I think Trey Potts is a great example. Transfers in here as a senior. Didn't get a whole lot of reps and a whole lot of burn the first couple games, and just kept a great attitude and kept working. And when he got opportunities, he maximized them. So it was great to see him be able to come in and know that we feel like we got 3 backs that we can win with in this league. But yeah, I'll know more. But I don't have those details right now. And as you can imagine, I usually don't give them out anyway.
Johnny then Sauber.
James, I was going to ask you about Trey, so I'll switch to the defensive line. Zane Durant in particular, had quite an impact today. Can you just assess how he's been coming along this season and growing more into his role?
Yeah, I think he had 3 tackles for loss today and a sack, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I've been a big fan of Zane's really since he arrived on campus. He's approached it the right way. It's not easy to play D tackle as a true freshman. He was able to do that. I thought he had a chance to take a significant step, this year, and I think he's doing that. So he's a smart guy. He's a consistent guy. He's a disciplined guy. We talk about being high production and low maintenance. He's that. and I'm proud of him. His parents did a great job raising him. Came from a really good high school program, but we need him to continue making his presence felt out there.
Sauber, then Corey.
James, how would you evaluate Drew's second half compared to his first half performance?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure kind of how it finished up. Obviously, he was 18 of 33 for the game. So our completion percentage has been higher. I think there's some things that we got to do in terms of separating at the top of our routes, or also being able to run past people. We took some shots, had a chance. I think we dropped one of them. That would have been a huge play. But I think the most important thing that he is doing and that we're doing is protecting the football. I think that's one of those things that everybody gets excited about, the turnovers that we cause. It's not as sexy to talk about ball security, but I'm really proud about how he's handled that and managed that aspect of the game.
Corey, then Donnie.
James, your defense is so good. It keeps you in every game. And the good news of that is the offense doesn't necessarily have a ton of pressure on it all the time. But is there a flip side to that maybe we haven't seen enough of what your offense can do yet, because they really haven't been in a lot of threatening situations third and fourth quarter?
Yeah, obviously that you're gonna have to win throughout a season a lot of different ways. We've been able to do that. The first 5 weeks of the season. But I think your point is a good one. We gotta be more explosive, and we gotta be more consistent. But again, there's a bunch of stats that I can throw out there to you that I think a lot of programs around the country would be pretty excited about. You talk about scoring 30 points. I think we're leading the country in consecutive games over 30 points, if that's still accurate. So yeah, I think it's your guys' job and my job to kind of boil this thing down and critique some of the areas that we got to get better. And there's going to be some games that we're going to have to score some more points. There's no doubt about it. But again, I think we're playing really good complementary football right now, and we're happy to be we're happy to be one of them.
On the complementary football front, the stop on the punt, the fake punt, is that something you guys saw that you thought might happen there? And talk a little bit about the plays Zion made on that.
Yeah, so a couple things. I think first of all, we talked about that all week long. There's going to be something show up in that game, an onside kick, a surprise bunt, a fake punt, something to steal a possession or steal 7 points. So that was a huge play for us. Zion is a true freshman that showed some really good flashes and has played a decent amount of football for us up to this stage. But that was a huge play in the game. I talked last week about 3 key plays. That was a big play. But we talked about it all week long and prepared for it. But it's one thing to talk about it and prepare for it. It's another thing to go out and make the play, especially from a true freshman. So that's something we got to build on.
2 more, Ben, then Smeltzer.
You're coming out of the bye week into a non-conference game, which is different for you guys, I think, almost entirely through your tenure. Does that afford you anything different logistically in terms of how you approach the next few weeks, or is it just the same that it always is?
Yeah, I don't know if we're approaching it any different because of what you said, but I think we've really kind of studied, as you know, a lot of things in the off season. One of the things that we studied in great detail was bye weeks, and what is the best way to handle it, that you can find that balance between recovery and getting the guys fresh, but also getting better. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in here. If I did, I apologize for being repetitive because I talked about it in the locker room. This is a bye week, not an off week. We got to get better this week, and that's the fine line, right? What can we do during the week to allow the guys to recover? The weekend will be huge, especially if it's handled the right way. And then obviously being able to dig into our self-scout, offense, defense, and special teams, and then as I won't talk about, but you guys I'm kind of dangling this carrot, which I shouldn't do, but we're also going to get ahead. You know, the coaches will get ahead on the schedule as well during this bye week, but next week will be totally obviously on our next opponent. So, you know, those are the things that we're looking at pretty hard and pretty heavy. I think some of the positions that Pat has allowed us to hire has helped with that as well. We just got more people to do more things.
Smeltzer.
You mentioned winning the sack battle
And just
significantly.
so we're all clear, the only reason I did that is because we're not playing anybody next week. I'm just talking about our process. I saw Poorman's eyebrows go up. I don't think that that's happening.
UMass.
Thank you. Say it louder.
No, you don't pay me enough.
Yeah, so the defensive line, obviously impressive again today. Now that we're 5 games into Deion's first season on the job, you've talked highly of him, but now getting into the season with 5 games in, how would you say that they're responding to him now that they're having to apply that in games?
Yeah, I think it's you know, you never want to speak too soon, right? But Deion played here at Penn State, so he takes a ton of pride in the university, in the community, in the football program. Then not only that, he was on our staff for I think 3 years as a graduate assistant. So kind of understood the culture and how we work and what the expectations and standards are. His players absolutely love him. That was a big part in hiring him. They pounded the table hard for him. But at the end of the day, it's about coaching those guys. It's about developing them both on and off the field. I think Deion's got a very, very bright future. I'm glad he's with us. It's like anything else, right? You make decisions, and then you look back a couple months later, and you want to be pleased with the decisions you've made. And Deion has done all the things necessary to make Manny and myself feel like we made the right decision. But you know, there's still a ton of work. I still think we can get better at that position. The exciting thing about Deion is his future's ahead of him. You know, I think, you know, the things that he does well, he's elite at. But just like anybody early in his career, there's a ton of areas for growth. So it's exciting from a potential standpoint.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
We're going to
Jen.
do players out near the field.